priced and conveniently packaged in 2 pounds, 2 kg, 10 kg, and 25 kg bags. For wholesale and retail prices, contact Shiklisho Limited at 665-3336 or 4808-715 or visit us at Warrenville, Cunupia. Shiklisho Limited, quality you can trust.
Prices on all grocery items. Trust Low Cost Supermarket for the widest variety of quality products at low prices. Freshly picked fruits and vegetables, healthy products for your well-being, high quality meat cuts, and a warm and friendly service. Low Cost Supermarket, Sun and Main Road, Cunupia.
Mitsu Air Limited, authorized Mitsubishi air conditioning dealer. No need to replace your air conditioning units ever so often. Split units, cassette, ductable, CTVIF systems, and much more. Mitsubishi Electric has long been powering industries and providing solutions for healthy living. Mitsu Air Limited boasts the industry's first 10-year warranty on all parts and labor. Inverter units are also available. Don't hear it, just feel it. Mitsu Air Limited, 246 Eastern Main Road, Barataria. Give us a call at 674-4000 or 675-4000 or email us at mitsu.limited@gmail.com.
Assalamu alaikum and good evening and welcome to Breaking Barriers here on IBN Channel 8. Of course, it's a rainy Wednesday evening and it's flood all over Trinidad and Tobago. And I said it before and I will continue to say it. When you give contractors jobs and you see they're taking out the top grass from some of these drains and not dredging according to international standards, you will get what you get. In fact, in Trinidad and Tobago, we could have 10 minutes of rain and we have flooding all over. But what can I say? We like it so. Anyway, let me just welcome our first sponsor, our good friends at Tile Expression. I remember Tile Expression is located right there in Cunupia. I hope by now they did some repairs to that road because there was one road that is horrendous. And of course, just remind you a little bit later on, we have a special guest. Attorney at Law Richard Jagisser, who will be joining me on set in a short while. Of course, I will be conversing with him on and off. Richard, I see they finally paved that road by the gas station there by Medford, boy. Yeah, that one was chaos. Yeah, that was real bad. In fact, and whoever the contractor was, they did a good job. So I must commend them. The only thing in Trinidad and Tobago is that when you get a paving contract, you pave a piece, you stop, and you pave a piece, and you stop, and you pave a piece. You can't hear what's happening. You can't pave the whole road. But talking about paving, let me just say a special thank you to number one, the driver of the Kusal truck that came. We purchased our material from Kusal because the standards, the qualities that we get from Kusal is similar to our good friends at Junior Sami is good quality. So we always take from those sides. And I just want to show you some videos of what we did in Bamboo number 2. If my guys could run it, you can leave the audio out. This was, and of course that's my manager there. And pause a little bit. You see that fella in the blue shirt there? That fella is the man they call Poya, and that man behind him, that is Ryan. Those are two businessmen in Bamboo who went with us from the morning till the evening until we finish. And I would like to commend those two gentlemen, H&B Auto Parts and, of course, iShops. Fantastic support we receive from them, and I want to commend them. Not only financial, but of course they assisted us with labor as well. And my son, and I would like to thank my brother Nazim there in his stripe, and Darren, Lachman, Sean, and I'm sure I'll forget somebody and get in trouble, right? Everybody who was there and who participated in this thing, this is on the main road. This was an area that everybody would have to stop. And of course, my neighbor Joey there assisting as well. And, you know, this is what we have to do in this country. Not because we want to, you know, because we could have used that $20-something thousand and spent it to do something else, to help the poor. But what we had to do now, what's the amount of patch on this piece of road now, man? Right? And to me, it's a shame. To me, it's a shame. And this is right in front of the Bamboo No. 2 government school. And what's the condition of that wall alone? So I was telling my guys, you know, we should go down and paint the school and do what we need to do. But this is where we are at in Trinidad and Tobago, where citizens of this country have to take money out. And you're catching your nenin unless you're a government contractor. Money that you should be spending on your children, that you should be putting aside. Maybe it is to buy a RAV4 or something at the end of the day. You know, God alone knows what you have to do with that money now. Right? But I also want to say a special thank you to the team who did some work at Baraka Grounds. You know, we had a team of people who came together. And I would just like to show you some vids of what our team was doing there, because you come down there with your family. And of course, Richard was there and his mom was there. So glad to see them down there. Take a look at some of these videos here. And of course, these are some of the stuff that we did down at Baraka Grounds. Yeah, guys, you can run that. The woman on the right is Salisha. And that woman, we call she the pressure woman because she always pressure washing. Right? That's Auntie Salisha. Of course, my wife is in a green hijab there, and this is the pool area that we normally sanitize. And what they were doing is making sure that the place was properly well cleaned and organized and prepared. Also, this is my daughter-in-law here, by the way. There she is, watch. Young Baigan, as I call her. Right? And boy, walking that shovel real good, top of the line. And of course, my wife and Rosella and Jawad and Patos and Sherry and Caliph and all those who assisted in, you know, helping us and Moody, the plant man, the agriculturist, and of course, who took half an hour to take out that cherry tree. I don't know why it was held on so long. Right? But to all those who assisted and continue to assist us so that we could have, you know, because we are trying to make the place people-friendly. Of course, it was a huge amount of work, and we were getting there. So again, thank you to everyone. Day and night, they worked and put things in place. And of course, I would like to thank all of them for assisting there, including my brother Nazim there. I mean, as old as he is, nearly 90 years, and he does real work. All right, so come back to me, guys. Thank you so much. Let me just welcome Neil Shaz, where you can get all your European parts for Mercedes-Benz, BMW, Jaguar, Volvo, etc. Remember to give them a call for genuine parts, or you could even check them out for replacement and service parts as well. All right, so let's go, guys. Let's run through because I have to make this fast. Monroe, boy, Monroe. I know it has Monroe Road, which is good, right? And I know it has Monroe Shocks, which is also good. But when you have a man like Monroe who likened the Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley, to St. Michael, the defender, archangel, and said he had the country's best interests at heart, I believe this man needs to go and get checked up. I believe that this man needs some help. Because here what happened, if I do a poll tonight, nearly 100% of the people will disagree with what you are saying, Archangel Reds. Now, in Christianity and Islam, there's about 90% similarities. And what we agree with is that they are angels which represent what we see as good. And of course, there's the angel of death. In Islam, what happens is that we say Malikul Maut, right? So what happens is that when you have the angel of death, Rowley is the angel of pressure. He is the angel of people catching their tail. He is the angel of high prices and nonsense going through Trinidad and Tobago. But these fellas and I will sing for their supper simply because Rowley put them there. It's similar to Hines. It's similar to all the other ministers now. They want Rowley. They would support Rowley because you see that is the type of behavior that the PNM ministers like when Rowley go up there and start a bark and get on, right? And behaves uncouth. That is the type of behavior they like. That is the type of behavior they support. So therefore, they will support Rowley and they will support him and they will continue to sing for their supper. Let's go again, guys. A former Assistant Commissioner of the Board of Inland Revenue has emerged victorious in her legal battle against Finance Minister Colin Imbert over being treated unfairly in her bid to be appointed chairman of the organization. In deciding the case, the judge ruled that Imbert did not act fairly as he only asked Ramki Soon if she was aware of the investigation. At the end of the day, these are things that you should not be interfering with. And I'm glad to see that the court has found favor with what, and she's on pre-retirement leave now. So what happens is that for all the time she did not have that post, they will have to pay her. So, and you know what is the sad thing about this? The money that is being paid ain't coming from Imbert or ain't coming from Rowley, you know. It's coming from our pockets, the taxpayers of Trinidad and Tobago. Let's go again, guys. You can leave that one now. Let's go. Next slide. Right. Works Ministry promises cheaper, durable roads. The intention is to adjust the design and specifications where needed to deliver roads with a longer life design life. Come back to me for 1 second. If all you want longer roads and better roads, stop putting contractors who doing crap. Stop putting contractors who put in 2 inch of pitch. Stop putting contractors who will go when election come and give all your kickbacks so that the government can continue to build PNM headquarters. Stop doing that. Because it is easy. Because we had the CRAMs, we had the COSALs, we had the Junior Sammies, and all of a sudden now, these contractors who have built thousands of roads throughout Trinidad and Tobago, they are now being discarded for who and what? Young boys who don't know where the hell they're doing. But these young boys are quick to pay to certain people to get certain things done. I ain't calling no names, even though I have on my court clothes. The reality of it is that we know what goes on. For example, in Bamboo number 3, the reason that road is mashing up is when you look, the top layer is 2 inches, if so much, and it's breaking apart. Why? Because some idiot decide to use a contractor and no one investigated, and one of the organizations responsible for allowing this nonsense to continue is an organization called PURE. PURE is one of the most inept organizations in the history, government-run state entities in the history of Trinidad and Tobago. Because a lot of these projects, PURE have control over. PURE engineers has go there to check it out. And what did they check out? They check it out apparently with blindfold. Let's go back to that slide, guys. One solution was to modify and specify the design of materials required for road rehabilitation and construction. The 2-phase program will use 25 contractors in the first phase and an additional 24 in the second. Lake Asphalt is collaborating with UE to develop a training program on spot paving for small contractors. Imagine you now have to come up with something to train small contractors to do spot paving. So the days of using contractors who are qualified and for those who have experience, that gone now. So now we're going to train people, so now it's trial and error. The height of stupidity just does not stop. Let's go again to that slide, guys. The ministry will also work closely with contractors to control the quality. The ministry, 2 things don't go hand in hand here. Ministry and quality never goes hand in hand at all. Ministry and nonsense, yes. Ministry and rubbish, yes. Ministry and bubble, yes. But not ministry and quality. Let's go to the other slide, guys. Moving with speed. You know, today I had to show the kind of idiot. Zoom into that number plate for me, please. Right? Let me get that number plate big and bold. Because you see, it have too many stupid people that's coming to Bamboo and park like idiots, like TCD 7731, who was parked on the curb. TCD 7731, you are an idiot. Let's go again, guys. Right? PCX, right? PCX 2153. Look where Gadaha gonna park. Gadaha gonna park right next to where someone park and blocking the whole road. Let's go again, guys. PDW 3456 decided to park on the main road, don't care about what traffic they're blocking and go on the way. Right? Let's go again, guys. Let's zoom into that vehicle in the back, please. That is parked there, or that probably waiting. I think he's probably waiting. Let's go again. Next. Ah, yes, and here we have super stupid PBG 403. Another one parked on the curb. Going again, guys. PBN 1234. Well, you know how to count, but you don't know how to park. Let's go again. TEC 2639. Brand new vehicle. But with brand new vehicle does not come sense. And of course, TCK 1350. Park up like a yayan. As usual. And I am appealing to the police in Bamboo number, to deal with this situation in Bamboo number 3. Residents have been asking me to help them out. Now, I have seen it myself where you have people park stupid. You have one park on the left, and then my partner, they park on the right. Zoom into that number plate on the right. This one decided that he will park up on the right because he have a new vehicle and he bad like Baji. TEC 9992, come now, man. You park up like a yayan. Do something better than that. All right, so what we're going to do is that I'm going to preempt everything else because what happens is that, today, let's run through some videos of some of the floods that took place throughout Trinidad and Tobago. You see, I said it before and I'll say it again. Long time when a contractor dredged a river, you would have truckloads of material that they dredge. Nowadays, when they dredge, they pull it aside and it can't fit on a Kia 2700. And what they're pulling out? Just grass. So, I mean, I am not an engineer, but common sense tell me, if you properly dredge a river, you widen it up on both sides, you dig a little depth, you would be able to hold more water. Correct, Richard? That makes sense, right? The bigger the bowl, the more it holds, right? And to me, it is confusing to see in 5 minutes everywhere flooding in this country. But what is not shocking is that the speed at which the rain is coming down now, because the mountains have been taken over by illegal housing. All over. In Maracas right now, if you go up on the hills, people building two-story houses on the hills in Maracas and nobody's touching them. Nobody's touching them. Nobody dares to touch them because these people have something called the P&M party card, and you could thief water without a problem. You could thief electricity without a problem. You could thief everything without a problem once you have that, because that is your get out of jail card. Let me just welcome Gate Automation Company Limited, and what we're going to do is that we're going to take a break, and when we come back, I'm going to introduce Attorney at Law Richard Jagger to the set because we're going to discuss. Yeah, let's run through one or two of these videos, and then before we go for a break. Go ahead, run the videos. Right? This is Trinidad and Tobago right now. Imagine hurricane gone over countries and it is as bad as this. We just get a little taste and the whole country flooded. What's going to happen if a hurricane or a storm actually really hit this country, boy? We just get, pause that right there. Pause that. Richard, I don't know if you saw this car, this black car. Check that out now, man.
Yeah, so
unbelievable, eh?
yeah. And insurance wouldn't cover that.
Why?
Unless, of course,
flood damage.
Unless you have flood damage, yeah.
So if you're fully comprehensive, hard luck.
It depends on his insurance company.
Right. So that like They're like asking for a windscreen to be covered when you don't have windscreen coverage.
Correct. Correct.
I never knew a windscreen was never part of a car before, you know.
Yeah.
You understand? You realize, Richard's that windscreen coverings, and you think, check this out. Check this out. This gentleman, you could take a look. You wouldn't be on here, don't worry. As you take a look. Pull back that video, guys. Watch this fella. Grab the window. And watch. But he survived. He survived and he was taken to the hospital. And this is Trinidad and Tobago. This is in Tobago. This is in Tobago, where this house started to collapse. So what you're seeing here, right, in many cases, is not because, I mean, in a case like that, I can't blame nobody except here what happened in Papi. The back, I'm not seeing any major excavation in the back. I'm seeing natural, trees and those things, vegetation. So the only thing I could assume there is construction issues. That's the only thing I could assume. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll continue right here on Breaking Barriers. We'll be back right after this.
No more games. You always break the table when you lose. Promise? 41-10 jigsaw. Watch it. Don't you dare. Ronix.
At Extra Foods, we care for you. That's why we always have the widest variety, the best prices, spacious aisles of total convenience, plus clean, safe surroundings. Let us care for you. Extra Foods, always extra for less.
Attention all bakers, doubles vendors, and roti makers. Try our high-quality, bromate-free, all-purpose, and whole wheat flour. Low price and conveniently packaged in 2 pounds, 2 kg, 10 kg, and 25 kg bags. For wholesale and retail prices, contact Shiklisho Limited at 665-3336 or 4808-715 or visit us at Warrenville, Canupia. Shiklisho Limited, quality you can trust.
Mitsu Air Limited, authorized Mitsubishi air conditioning dealer. No need to replace your air conditioning units ever so often. Split units, cassette, ductable, CTVIF systems, and much more. Mitsubishi Electric has long been powering industries and providing solutions for healthy living. Mitsu Air Limited boasts the industry's first 10-year warranty on all parts and labor. Inverter units are also available. Don't hear it, just feel it. Mitsu Air Limited, 246 Eastern Main Road, Barataria. Give us a call at 674-4000 or 675-4000 or email us at mitsu.limited@gmail.com.
I coming back now, but what I gonna do is tell the public what you tell me, right? Because I have real supporters here, real tanties and uncles outside there supporting. Mr. You can have a seat here, you wouldn't be on a live shot. Richard's dad is in the studio, and of course, he's a gentleman that how long we have known each other now? About 20 years, isn't it? About 20 years. I've always known him to be a soft-spoken, gentle soul, right? And mom is that. Anyway, let me do some introduction. Richard Jagisa, attorney at law. I've known this young man for how long? About 20 years too, right? How old are you now, Richard?
29.
29?
So we probably know about 28 years.
Right. You only developed the Johnny Bravo hairstyle about 6 years ago.
More or less, yeah.
Right, good. Let us go into the background of Richard before we start to talk about the real issues, right? See that nice picture I used it today? You look like Kumar Sanu. Could we show back that loaded? What's that now, man?
Yeah, and Salman Khan something.
Salman what? No, Salman can. It look like Salman cannot. You know, you don't tell me nothing. You know. Anyway, about 20 years I know you. And as I keep telling people, as a young man, I used to always admire your discipline. I never saw you once, and I was in and out of offices and you were there. Not once were you disrespectful. And in fact, there were 1 or 2 occasions I asked you to get something for me, and you would go your merry way and come back. But you would go back in a corner and beat books. Tell us about the Richard Jagisa, how you grew up. You know, what were your likes, your dislikes in terms of sporting activities, if any, etc.?
Well, I was born in South, raised in Shogunas, and went to school in Port of Spain. I went to school in CIC, St. Mary's College. So, born in South, raised in Shogunas, Felicity, country boy, and then flung into town to face the masses with everybody else. That 4 a.m. traffic, 4:30 traffic, which is still the traffic I have to face today to go to work 20 plus years later. That being the case, I had a very strong backing at home, which caused me to beat the books, because if I didn't beat the books, they was beating me. And they were my mother and my father, who were both teachers at the time. They're both retired now. My father retired just last year, a year early. But if I didn't beat it, I get beat.
But who was the real enforcer?
My mother.
You say that. You say, you remind me of something there. One is that in my religion we are taught, who should you love first? You say your mother. Who should you love second? Your mother. Who should you love third? Your mother. And then your father. You just said your mother, your mother, your mother, right? Without even asking. So that means that the mother was the one that was holding stick. Richard, did you do your homework? Richard, organize yourself. Time to go to school. Was that the...
She was also my teacher in primary school.
Oh, yeah, boy.
All these knuckles.
So, and what primary school was that?
That was Raghunath Road Government Primary School.
Right.
The same school my father taught in up until retirement. And then from there I went to St. Mary's College. And then from there, as you would know, straight into UWI St. Augustine for law, for my LLB.
Why go in that direction? There were so many options as a young man. You grew up in a family where there was political blood, where, you know, politics was the order of the day. And what happened is that, not directly as a member of parliament, etc., but what happened is that because you were in and out of political offices when mom and dad was around, I'm not getting into details of that, but the reality of it is that there was so much direction for you to switch gears and go left, right, and center. Why law?
Yeah, very simple answer. In addition to the law, in addition to the politics, I should say, my father and my mother were always engaged in community activities, kiwanis, sporting activities, football, cricket. The family was always engaged in throwing those events for the public, for the area, Felicity, Shogunas, and environs. Politics was just a byproduct of that. How do you help more people? You help more people by distributing hampers. You help more people by distributing mattresses, wheelchairs, etc. And politics was an avenue for that. But the crux of the family, of my household, was that community service. And I grew up with that in the back of my mind and asking the question, what can I do to help the majority of people the fastest? And the answer was law. The answer was, how do I help? How do I build a foundation for a catchment of people to be protected in some way or the other? And the answer is, you become a lawyer and you protect those who are downtrodden. You enforce the law where it needs enforcement. You snuff out corruption, crime, anything that is unreasonable. You snuff out those things, you bury it, not to be seen again, and you build up the people of the country to the point where we have enriched people of the country, both in knowledge and wealth and physique. You have people who could stand up against wrongdoing even after my passing. You use law as the avenue for that, because that is how you build a country. That was the home I was brought up in, and that is why I chose law.
So you went to UWI.
I went to UWI.
And what happened is that, as we're well aware, most people, it's either Mona or
St. Augustine.
Or St. Augustine.
Cave Hill and...
Cave Hill in Barbados.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of Trinidadians go to Jamaica. I don't know what is the reason, but that is the next story. So you decided to get into law. Are you looking to go into any specialty of law, or is it a general practice?
Right now, I practice a wide scope of law, crim, public law, civil, constitutional, etc. But as you would know, I tend to my most enjoyable aspects of law are crim, courts of appeal, crim.
When you say crim,
Well, everything you just get charged for.
I'm coming back, boy.
So everything in the magistrate's court
You
is
sure you
criminal.
mean crime?
Well, criminal law, criminal short for criminal.
Also, that is why I was confused when I heard it was malpros.
Malicious, short for malicious prosecution.
So they just can't say malicious prosecution.
No, that's so much words, and let's pay we by the word.
But still, if it's a malpros, it's two separate words.
So criminal law and public law seems to be where I appreciate the most, like constitutional law. And those are, as I said earlier, those are the areas that people need the most assistance in. A public servant who's get bypassed for promotion, that's public law, that's judicial review. A man who's looking for his medical records in Mount Hope and can't get access to it, that's a Freedom of Information Act request, that's public law. A man who is locked up without reasonable cause, that's a constitutional case. So those are the areas I tend to focus on.
Well, I see that the Prime Minister is starting to admire you a lot now. I mean, you have a fan on your hand.
Yes, so I understand. And I understand his key members of cabinet are also my fans. One of these days I'll get one of them in the box and I'll deal with them.
Right, but let us get into the meat of the matter now. What happened is that there was the scenario where I was arrested in Chaguanas, and what happened is that I was taken in. And when I was taken in, what happened is that without him asking, you volunteered your services. You decided, here what happened. We're doing this, we want to get this done, and boom, we went in. And of course, together with Nigel Trancuso, what happened is that the matter was brought through the magistrate's court under Wendy Dugdin Bali.
Correct.
Yes, right? And I must commend that magistrate again, because she actually took half an hour and counseled Partap when you could see that he was visibly distraught. And these are the people we want in those offices. Huh? Now, what happened is that we won that case. Of course, there was no case to answer, but we attended court how many times?
23 times.
23 times. Now, first off, my problem is this. They spend $15 million in Chaguanas, and you don't know where that $15 million gone. Because I still see people line up on the corridor. Is that?
Still the case.
The elderly still stand up.
Yep.
And the place is still run down. But not only that, sometimes you could be the witness in a case, and while people are testifying and you are supposed to be outside, you hearing everything that's going on inside. And what happens is that I am appealing for some, semblance of sanity to take place there, because we have the library. What are we doing with that library, the big concrete building there?
It's just up in the air. You see, because it's Chaguanas, nobody in Port of Spain, no minister in Port of Spain is going to approve any funds to be spent there. And that's the sad fact, that's the truth of it, because it's Chaguanas.
No, because we are seeing that every option is being given in Port of Spain, because I had the luxury of going to Tower D, where we did the matter, the Malpros matter, under Justice Rahim. I sometimes call him Rahim. And what happened is that, for me, it was a comfortable scenario. So therefore, in Port of Spain, you have several options. In Chaguanas, you have Chaguanas. You have a building, and your father would know that building very well. I think it's over 10 years that building is just sitting idly doing that, no more than that. And the building is structurally sound. It's a building that is perfect to house a court, because it has no windows and in here, there, and everywhere for man to jump out and escape. So for me, I think the judiciary should push. I think those who have the power should do so, because quite frankly, I've always said that people like yourself and the judges, the judges and the magistrates, you put your life at risk. At least you need to be in a comfortable position. But coming back to this whole matter now, we won it, right? What were your thoughts on that case and what transpired and the evidence that came out?
Well, you were charged in 2016 for allegedly leading a protest in front Guardian Media Building. That charge took 2.5 years to resolve at the Magistrates Court. We got decision at the Magistrates Court in your favor in 2018. Now, initially they charged 3 of you all, and you were charged as a ringleader.
Yes.
You were described as the most rowdy of the set.
Yeah.
And
I don't know where they get that from.
And from that point, I knew instantly they had no case. You cannot charge a man for simply being, let's assume they meant loud when they said rowdy. You can't charge a man for being the loudest anywhere, otherwise Pandey would have leave parliament every day and get charged. He was the loudest. It doesn't make sense. So on that footing, we knew from day one that we had a cause of action at the High Court for malicious prosecution and false imprisonment. Because the test for that is whether or not there was reasonable and probable cause to lay the charge in the first place. And there is no reasonable and probable cause to arrest you for leading a protest simply because you're the loudest at the protest.
Well, let us get more into the meat of the matter now. 3 state prosecutors.
The
3
resources.
state prosecutors for my matter.
Yes. The resources spent on your matter they should put a statistic, use you as a statistic, and the amount of money they have spent over the years to prosecute you, use that, and probably feed some children, buy some school books, give out some hampers, because they're wasting time and they're wasting effort and they're wasting energy. The resources spent in this one case could have been allocated any number of ways to put away any number of actual criminals committing actual crimes. Not for you, not for you who was charged for first it was leading a protest, then it was attending a protest. They didn't know how to get here. And I understand this is the 4th consecutive case you've won. So they never know how to get here and they'll keep coming.
No, but you know what is interesting? They also said that I never had a camera.
Right.
So I had to draw to the attention of Justice Rahim that this thing that they took and they seized and they kept and they gave me back after court, it looked like a camera. It smelled like a camera. It have Sony on it. It have a lens and could record like a camera, but it was not a camera. So the court evidence would show. But not only that, Mr. Jagasa, I was never in a jail cell. According to the police, I saw 2 officers specifically lied in the box and stated that I was never placed in a jail cell.
Yeah, and they put that in their witness statements as well. You were never in a cell. But let's say the camera thing in parts.
Right.
At the magistrate's court, when you had to give evidence, we used the camera.
We used footage from the camera.
We had to log the camera and the footage in, and they had to run some tests and so on it before we could show them. We had to reserve a particular courtroom.
Correct.
And we had to use your actual camera because the court didn't have a system that we could plug in the footage in.
Correct.
So we use your camera, the same camera you use on the day, and the footage. And it showed where you had the camera when the officer called you over. The camera was recording because you were recording. You went there. A very important part we forgot to mention to the people. You went at the protest. You were indeed present on the protest, not to lead the protest, not to participate in the protest, but to cover the protest for this show. Not so? But with your camera.
But let us not forget, Mr. Jagasa, even before confronting me and arresting me there, I was at Baraka Grounds.
Correct.
When 11 police vehicles showed up. 11.
Yeah.
And if it was a different time, it would have been 11T. You understand?
Yeah.
Teach, that is a word. Anyway, what is shocking is that the fear that these people, I tell you, like I am Abu Inshan, because when you see people protesting in different areas, no one is touched.
No.
But here it is, a man who they get information from is going to lead a so-called protest, and they send vehicles up a 20-seater there, 20-seater there, and I in the middle.
Yeah.
So it shows you how far they would go. And then, you know, we have Soka, the infamous Soka of the jacket fame, the Inspector jacket fame, you know, with the Spanish way and all that. And that is public knowledge. And that man coming and telling you what is the law and what is not the law. Yeah. And then Hodge Griffith, the same one who wish all the Muslims happy Diwali, right? She's still confused. Yeah. And that was the one leading, right? Or was it Happy Diwali to the Muslim community? Anyway, she had me confused too. So we went through this whole process. We have, you know, information coming out. that the police acted on behalf of an inspector.
Yeah. Wasn't that a statement made by the judge?
It was made.
It was a finding of fact.
Fact. That's correct.
You were not participating in the protest. You had no placards in your hand. You didn't approach the road to protest, nor with placards in your hand. Instead, it was a finding of fact that the police officers received instructions to arrest you.
And the Justice also, Justice Rahim, also stated that it was the intention to take me down to teach everybody a lesson more or less.
Yeah, which is nonsense, and that tramples upon a man's constitutional right to advocate for what he believes in. It cannot be done, and that is why, I hope that answers your earlier question, that is why I volunteered my services earlier, because as a journalist, you're entitled to go and cover a story. You're entitled to go and cover a story that one, has merit, and two, has to be publicized. And we cannot be in the habit of locking up journalists to teach people a lesson. That's absolute ridiculousness.
But let us swing gears a little bit, because what happens is that I want the public to get involved a little bit later on. My last matter, Malpros, where I was set up with his gun thing and found I had a phone in my hand, and witnesses on the police side and on the gentleman who accused me side, their witness statement said I had in my hand a rectangular silver object. Have you ever seen a rectangular gun?
No.
With a light. And on that evidence, police charged me, right? And set me up. Now, what is interesting, the police complaints authority, the same man who was involved in my thing, and I'm talking about Richard Smith, right? The same senior man who was involved, the same man who put me and grabbed me by my neck, as shown on video evidence, the same man that put me in the backseat of a car was cussing me about my mother, left, right, and center, right? That man, and I have two witnesses to that fact. And that man is a man looking to charge people now. But not only that, recently you won the matter where two other persons were held when I was also arrested. And one of them...
This is another incident,
yes,
entirely another incident.
And what happened is that while we were there, they ripped down the gate, they do what they had to do, and it clearly showed that Anzar, the gentleman that you represented, was filming, and Smith walked up to him,
held his hand like this,
and arrested and charged him.
Yeah.
As well as Issa.
Yeah. And the arrest and charge was for obstructing the police in their course of duty. The police came on the side to arrest you. You were already arrested. You were in the back of the vehicle, ready to leave the compound. These men were video recording outside. So therefore, they were not obstructing. The arrest had already taken place. And still, they arrested these two gentlemen for obstructing. How you can obstruct after you don't do what you come to do?
Do I smell a no-case submission?
Well, we win that already. We win that already. And we won that. From the first day I came to court, and I told the prosecutor and I told the magistrate.
Who was the magistrate?
At the time, I believe it was either senior magistrate Damini or it was magistrate Bali as well.
Okay.
And eventually, it ended before magistrate Tube. But whatever the case was, on the first day, I told them this case is going to be won on the point that you cannot obstruct an officer after the officer has completed the said duty in question.
Right.
The law is very clear on that. We took some years, same time as you, we took some years and resources spent to prosecute these men, which ought to be spent elsewhere. We took some years to eventually get to the point where the DPP himself had to come, or in this case, the deputy DPP himself had to come and discontinue the matter because there was no reasonable and probable cause to arrest the men.
But, I'm not saying this not to discredit anybody, but what happens is that I have seen personally in a few cases I've been involved in, that a lot of green people from the AG representing the AG's office come forward, and unfortunately, even if the estate had a case, the case would fall flat because of some of the people who represented the state. And I'm not going to draw particular examples to label anyone, but the reality of it is that I have seen it myself in a few of the cases. But that said and done, we go on to this whole scenario with this said gentleman. Now, we spoke about two things with this gentleman. One, well, several things. One, he cussed me about my mother, that is Smith. Two, right, there were threats made towards me, right, when I was in the vehicle. Number 3, the fact is that the PCA letter. What about that?
Right, so you sent a complaint to the PCA, the Police Complaints Authority, the body tasked with the responsibility of reviewing the actions of officers. You sent a complaint to them, an official complaint regarding Smith's behavior, and I understand that they responded to the complaint and gave certain recommendations. One was that the DPP's office should do something.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up so that my guys could...
And one was that the TTPS, the Commissioner of Police at the time, ought to have done something as well.
Yes.
And we recently wrote to follow up regarding that letter, and we've gotten no response yet, no formal response yet. But that is interesting because the same way they're hunting for you, they're trying to get your head on a block, any number of ways. Now they have the PCA, our tax dollars paying the fees of the PCA telling the Commissioner of Police and the DPP office to do something, and they simply will not do it.
Saif, I just sent you the PCA letter. When you get a chance, just put that up. Because I want people to see this, because the PCA wrote to the Commissioner and to the DPP since August 2021. We are now over a year.
Correct.
Right? And the allegations contained in that letter is serious. How could you have somebody outside there, right, representing the police service, and this is what a man stands accused of? I mean, at the end of the day, this is craziness, this is madness. And like I said before, for me, I was there. Let me tell you how wicked this man is. When we were there at the Baraka grounds for Diwali, coming around our property, you couldn't turn right to go into Baraka grounds. You had to go down by Price Plaza, make a U-turn and come back up past the Nagar traffic and then look to go and get parking. Because he so did not want, and by the way, all that caused was problems for the Nagar because we were assisting. For example, every year we provide 3 days of free parking. And people get vexed with us because of that. In fact, look at gentleman today. And I only mention this because the way a gentleman came across from the Z Expo across the road. 3 years here, they don't have a toilet. They use our toilet. All the tenants, most of them at least, will come and use our toilet. We don't have a problem with that. But when I spoke to the gentleman about the condition he left it, he get more vexed than me. So the reality of it is that when you look at certain scenarios and you understand it at face value, you know, some people really, you need to hit them a few kick and slap, you know, boy, to get them straight. But of course, I'm not a violent man. Let us run that letter, guys. This is the letter. Could we go more to the right? Right. Go down. Let's go down. Go down. Right. Y'all gone too far. Right? Go up again.
You should show
Pause.
the PCA heading everything to the top.
No, let me show you the logo to the top.
Right.
Just a
official letter.
Just to show, right, that this is officially PCA. And look at the reference number that they can't find.
Yes.
They can't find it now.
Them give you that reference number. We didn't give them that. Them create that. Them have a file in their office with that, supposed to have that, and they say they can't find it. But that's another point. We deal with that.
We already said. Could we go up, please? Go up to the part where it says Q45, right? Complaint of, it only have one Q45, right? Complaint of February 10th, 2017, made by Indira Clarence Raghunandan to the Police Complaints Authority, right? Richard, you run it through and tell me if these things should not warrant immediate action.
Well, the heading itself says recommendation for consideration to be given to the institution of criminal and disciplinary proceedings. I can only interpret that to mean the PCA is telling the recipients of this letter that they are recommending criminal action and disciplinary action against the individual the letter is about, against the individual the complaint is made against. If I were to go to paragraph 3, the paragraph that starts, I have assessed all of the information. Remember, the I is not me, is not Inshan, it is the PCA. I have assessed all of the information gathered and have formed the opinion. Remember, these are the people paid to form these kinds of opinions. formed the opinion that the criminal offense of misbehavior in public office, let's do that again, the criminal offense of misbehavior in public office and the disciplinary offense of discreditable conduct may have occurred. Now let's cut that up. That's one offense, one criminal offense of misbehavior in public office. That is crime.
Right.
That lock up, that jail, that is lost work.
Lost work.
That everything, that criminal behavior, right? The next thing is
go down.
Disciplinary offense, mean that is internal. So two things. Now the PCA now in the next paragraph recommends, in the circumstances, a recommendation has been made to the offices of one, the Director of Public Prosecutor, the DPP, for consideration to be given to the institution of criminal proceedings against Superintendent Smith for misbehavior in public office. The PCA, the authority paid to recommend disciplinary action, to recommend that charges be laid on errant public officers, have come forward and directed the DPP to they use the word initiate a criminal charge against Superintendent Smith for misbehavior in public office. I won. Abofin.
No, I like it. You're flying like you're in court.
2. Again, this is a recommendation to the Commissioner of Police. It doesn't matter if it's acting commissioner or present commissioner or last commissioner or future commissioner. The recommendation is to the office of the Commissioner of Police, whoever sits in that office, to consider institution of disciplinary action against Superintendent Smith for breach of Police Service Regulation 152A. And what that means, when the PCA recommends that the DPP and the Commissioner of Police take that action, it is a directive because the PCA is the only body who can do that. The PCA is the only authority who can tell these entities who to lay charges on and what to do. And have they done so? Have they laid these charges?
1 year, since 2017 this complaint was made. So therefore this man has held this position for 5 years.
And charging other people.
Yeah. Right? And I am calling on David West. I'm calling on the DPP. For whoever in a coma right now, for it to wake up. Because this not going away. Documents saying I hide and you can't find it. Here what happening? It have something called backup copy. We want the backup copy because this ain't going away. I always tell people, you mess with me, you mess with the wrong man. Right? But this whole scenario there, I mean, should be of concern. I mean, you're a gentleman, you're involved every day working with the rule of law. How does something like this make you feel, Richard?
It's untenable. It's absolutely untenable. How Smith could wake up in the morning and lay a charge on somebody else or prosecute our next person and he have charges coming up behind him?
The man has been on TV.
Advising people.
You understand?
He needs to seek advice of his own. He have charges pending. Whenever we do get these charges laid, it needs to be prosecuted with the same haste and veracity that they prosecuted you in the past.
I want 3 state prosecutors. And I want you to be a temporary state prosecutor at that time. Because, for me, it pains me. Because what happens is that to know, and we were speaking about it before, I have a TV station. I am well known. So therefore, here what's happening. They couldn't go and do more than they did. And I always said, there's a gentleman called ASP Moore. When they went home to search my home, I went through all my Jockey Shorts drawing. You know, that collection that I have years now.
Yeah.
Since Bartex, now your father gonna know about that. Right? Since them days. Right? ASP Moore called all of them. He said, nobody is going any room by themselves. Mm-hmm. We are all going together. And ASP Moore was in control because he realized what the police service have and what the police service is capable of. But not only that, in that said matter, right, in the matter with Smith and myself, where the 3 state, where WPC Joseph called me in and interviewed me, and this fella called Andy Mohammed cussing and carrying on and saying that Rafik is this type of person and that type of person. And we hear this man bad talking, the man who accused me, and still he was one of the persons to charge me. But what made it even worse is the fact that when you realize that this thing was a concoction, because when WPC Joseph interviewed me, and I could mention this because this is a statement of fact, she said, but there's nothing. She said that there's nothing, and then all of a sudden, they moved out WPC Joseph and they bring Andy Mohammed. And all of a sudden, boom, I get charged. Yeah. What is to happen with the man who cannot afford Richard? What is to happen with the poor man who ganja get put in pocket because the policeman wife like him and the policeman want to set him up?
Yeah, every day that happens in this country, and it is an untenable and unreasonable and unimaginable position to be in. And then when you go, a man who experiences that, and then where does he go to file the complaint? The PCA. What does the PCA do? Recommend action. Who has to take the action? The TTPS and the DPP, who simply won't take the action. So we spinning top in mud. We spinning top in mud, and we as the citizens cannot accept that for much longer. I believe we're very close. It could be my youth talking, but I believe we're very close to some sort of action, of some sort of collective action that the country can take. I don't know when it will happen, I don't know how it will happen, and I hope you'll be there when it happens.
No. I am chuking Egyptians right now because let us switch gears again. FOIA. I sent out a request months ago. It's going into 3 months through the Commissioner of Police. You saw a copy of that letter. You saw a copy of that email. I forwarded something again more than 30 days ago. No response. What is the response of the TTPS or a state agency to an FOIA request?
Well, the Act, the Freedom of Information Act, plainly says that public authority in receipt of an request for supply of documents under the Act has 30 days to make a decision. Now, that means they have 30 days to either approve the request or deny the request. In that 30 days, they can either tell you your documents will be granted in the future or deny, or tell you upfront those documents are not yours to see. In this case, you've not gotten that, so there's a breach of statutory duty, and you've not even gotten an acknowledgement for service. What usually happens, why I say the acknowledgement for service, is what usually happens in this country is they respond in 30 days and they ask for an extension of time. They say, well, we got it in the mail only a few days ago. Give us another 30 days or 21 days. Let us run it through legal and see if it approve or deny a request. And as reasonable human beings, we give them the extra 30 days because we don't want to go to rush to court for every little thing. And usually within that time, they will either approve or deny. In this case, you've not even gotten that courtesy. It's as though they're seeing the email coming in, because in the email you sent me, they responded, they responded saying something but not acknowledging. And so they know they get it, but they haven't obeyed or upheld their statutory duty to respond to either grant or deny your request for documents within 30 days. And that is actionable. That is a breach of statutory duty.
Well, and I'll start because what happens is that sending a next request next week for a breakdown of the rental vehicles, the company supplying the police service with rental vehicles, because that is going to shock you. It's going to cause here happening. The money that the police service is spending on so-called undercover vehicles, it'll cause all your hair to grow back, you know.
Well, okay. Mine or yours?
No, I've seen some patches there, which I want to talk about on television, but I will leave it right there now. No, because, Richard, let me tell you something. We were one of the largest providers of service for the police, right? For years, you're doing work. You're catching in and then they get paid. And then you're happening. The police service say, here, we want you to fix 300 because when you fix it now, you can't get money, you can't run your business, and you have to shut down. But in the meantime, the other fellas and them continuing to do work. So, I mean, for us, it was so unfair. But not only that, fellas who now come in the dance, right? Because I don't know how come it is they get in. And that is what we are finding out too, because the FOIA request asks the question, how many garages are there? When did they start work? So we will know if we were pushed out or if we were sidelined to put somebody, friend or family in. We will find that out.
Yeah, what you're looking for is to see if you were victimized.
That's correct.
And the answer, I think the country could come to their own conclusion. But if they're trying to lock up the man all how, and then they send your business under because they haven't paid your fees for however long. To me, as an objective observer, to me it's victimization.
Well, let me tell you something. Approximately 10 years ago, I got a call from a woman in tears telling me that she needs some assistance to purchase diabetic strips. And what happened is that when she told me the price of these strips and how often, 5-6 times she have to test for the day, I said, well, how poor people testing their sugar in this country, boy? Or how people with diabetes even have one? Richard, that same night, I searched and I scoured and did research, and I came across a company that is represented, that represents GE and others, and I became the distributor within 1 week for that company. We have been representing that company for 10 years now, Richard, and you know what? We have no strips in the country because I'm getting this amount of money from the banks.
In the US?
US.
Right. Earlier you were talking about once you have a PNM party card, you could get away, you could steal anything you want.
You could do what you want.
I wanted to chip in and say you could get any amount of US you want. The regular man on the street can't get US for anything.
Yeah, but what, okay, and let's talk really. Answer Macal is an owner of foreign exchange. They, with the beers and the exports, etc., they earn foreign exchange. Mm-hmm. So fine. But Answer Macal is one of the only companies that I know that is a conglomerate and have places all over the Caribbean. I don't know, and I say I don't know, if Lifestyle Motors have that. But Lifestyle Motors represent Jeep, they represent Suzuki, they represent Porsche, they represent SsangYong. Where is the foreign exchange coming from? And how is it being earned? Nobody is saying that anybody doing any illegal. But my question is this. Imagine elderly people cannot get diabetic strips. But a man could go and get millions of dollars to bring in a car. And here what happened, I was one of the persons who started the foreign news industry, Richard. Mm-hmm. And imagine I can't get foreign exchange to bring in one car. One car. Or to bring in 2 cars. You have to approach the black market. And the black market is now the norm. And when you go to the bank, here what happening, Richard, you have some family come from abroad. They come at 5,000 US. Boy, here I will sell you the US. You buy that 5,000. First off, they tell you that you're not supposed to purchase that because you are not central bank. When you go to the bank now, you have to provide an invoice. You have to provide proof of where that money come from. How did you pay? What transaction was done? But there are people in this country bringing in $1 million vehicles, not purchasing money from the bank. Now, I want you to listen to this carefully and tell me if this is not a matter for the FIU. If you are not being given millions of dollars in US by the bank, but you are doing millions of US in transactions, and the bank is seeing this, and the bank never questioned you, you tell me something not wrong there.
Something is wrong there. You must account for your income and the currency in which it comes.
Well, the bank closing a blind eye to certain people, but if that was me, I tell you, I went to deposit 7,000 US cash, and the only thing the woman didn't do was ask me what my sock size, or what brand of soap others used to bathe, if others bathe, what brand of shampoo others use. You understand?
It's ridiculous.
I was jog over the coals breads. Yeah. I mean, and you know, coal is something, coal potting is something popular.
That big now?
Yeah. I'm going to have a showing bicycle next week.
Well, I waiting to go to ride from my office in Port of Spain over to Hyatt and see, well, where he parked the bike, I park in the bike there too.
Yeah, but one is that I could imagine you with your cape going down the road, you know, because you're a man, you wouldn't want to tote no bag on it. No. We will call it super law.
You don't call me that already?
Yeah, you know what I mean? By all means, what we're going to do is we're going to open up our phone lines after this break. Remember, you're watching Breaking Barriers. With me in studio is the man himself, Richard Jagisa, and of course, this, I want to talk about this before we go on break.
Okay.
You have accomplished so much as a young man. And this is why I always tell you, I am so proud of you. And when I heard that you wrote a book, and wait night, this my copy here, you sign it, I think?
No, you have to come to the book launch for your copy.
But
I give it a good looking for any back, man. You know what I look like.
Why you take out a picture of the back of your head? Oh, sorry, no. This is the book. Now, what led to this?
To be quite honest, I have always had a thirst for knowledge, and somewhere in
Richard is a nerd. Richard is a nerd because I see a picture with you on the plane with a whole suitcase of books with your head buried down. Your mother took that picture. And I say, but wham to this boy. Another man would have been on a flight, you know, looking through the window and thing. And one was that checking a little papers and thing on your phone. But you have this big briefcase. Is there a special name for that briefcase, by the way?
No, I think briefcase.
Yeah, but that is not a normal briefcase.
No, is that?
Right, that is a super size, right? You with this big thing going through, I mean, I don't know, boy. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, you see, when submissions are due, when you have clients like Inchan Ishmael, who in court every Monday morning, you have to be prepared to deal with any and everything the judge can throw at you. A judge ever asked me a question I couldn't answer?
Hey, you didn't hear about me? Come down, man. Because your representative was Umi.
Yeah.
Umi, you didn't ask Umi about your client, you know, Trancuso client. You didn't ask how I was in that box.
No, the whole country know that you could describe the inside of a cell with great clarity.
Yes, and my camera, it was only invisible camera.
Yes. So the bottom line is somewhere between reading and attending court, I decided to start writing. And before I knew it, I was writing a book, and it simply is a general guideline on the operations of the criminal justice system in Trinidad and Tobago. So it's meant for anybody, not just lawyers. It's meant for people who frequent the court, who always go in the box. There's a chapter here for you. There's a chapter here on how to speak in court, on what words in court mean. I think you could probably write that chapter yourself by now.
I write a book on what type of placard I need to use when you... Yeah, because I did that. Bristol board is the best and magic marker, but go ahead.
Right, and this is what I hope to be the first of many in a series. So this is crim with a little touch on, guess what? Malicious prosecution and false imprisonment.
Is it at bookstores? Is it...
So it's online as we speak. It's on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. You can get your own copy. I am officially launching in about 3 weeks in the end of October. After that, it will be in bookstores in Trinidad, Book Specialist and UE Bookstore. But I mean, it's available online for purchase now. The title of the book is Sailing the Magistracy. And of course, you can also search my name and you can get the book on Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
Well done. What has been the feedback so far? Because here what happening, eh? You're in a profession. One is that, remember, it have people say, but one to he, boy, he's so young, he now come out and writing book and what experience you have?
Well, I would say that at the end of the day, age is indeed a factor, but it also, another factor is how much reading have you done, how much have you attended court, how many cases have you done, and essentially, if you have something to say, and I believe I have something to say, and I've put it down, and I believe it's for everybody to appreciate. I believe if you are going to court, there is something here that can help you. The book is written essentially for the everyday man who goes to the magistrate's court.
Well said, well said. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll continue with Attorney Richard Jagisa. Just a reminder that when we come back, we'll take your calls. And remember, you can go online, and soon this book will be available at stores, bookstores nationwide. And of course, I speak on behalf of myself, Nigel Arkan, of course, Mohammed's bookstores, and all these other people who are outside there. Make sure that you have your copies in stock. And of course, the launch is at the end of this month. All right, so we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll continue right here on Breaking Barriers. We'll be back.
Is a German tool brand. Ronix is a German tool brand.
lowest prices on all grocery items, trust Low Cost Supermarket for the widest variety of quality products at low prices. Freshly picked fruits and vegetables, healthy products for your well-being, high quality meat cuts, and a warm and friendly service. Low Cost Supermarket, Southern Main Road, Cunupia.
Attention all bakers, doubles vendors and roti makers. Try our high quality bromate free, all purpose and whole wheat flour. Low price and conveniently packaged in 2 pounds, 2 kg, 10 kg and 25 kg bags. For wholesale and retail prices, contact Shiklisho Limited at 665-3336 or 4808-715 or visit us at Warrenville, Cunupia. Shiklisho Limited, quality you can trust.
Mitsu Air Limited, authorized Mitsubishi air conditioning dealer. No need to replace your air conditioning units ever so often. Split units, cassette, ductable, CTVIF systems and much more. Mitsubishi Electric has long been powering industries and providing solutions for healthy living. Mitsu Air Limited boasts the industry's first 10-year warranty on all parts and labor. Inverter units are also available. Don't hear it, just feel it. Mitsu Air Limited, 246 Eastern Main Road, Barataria. Give us a call at 674-4000 or 675-4000 or email us at mitsu.limited@gmail.com.
Right, and welcome back. Remember, you're watching Breaking Barriers. To those of you who are watching online, it's a pleasure having you on board. Remember, we're on IBN Channel 8 on all local cable networks, and you can catch us on YouTube as well. You could also email me, breakingbarriers@gmail.com. If you have any juicy information on anybody that you want me to bust open, let me know. One of the things that before we start to take calls, Richard, and of course, to those of you who don't have the telephone number here, it's 645-4426 and 663-8373. We're discussing, well, you could discuss everything we discussed tonight, or you could decide to just segue a little. Well, I ain't taking our callers yet. But what happened is that I want to, before we take that call, money.
Right.
What going to happen? Because I was told about the Masters Court and Masters, whatever you call it, and this and that. What is that about?
Well, first to begin, we have a budget that just passed the lower house. And I don't know if you took my advice and you're calling, but...
No, I searched online and I put my name. It wasn't there. I look on the skunks because that is what it's called me sometimes.
Right.
I ain't find it. So is that I thought that they would have an allocation for cases that I am winning.
Because you're winning plenty. He hasn't lost that case yet, and all of the malicious prosecution and false imprisonment.
Yeah, but the police haven't lost one.
He has won, means that the state has money to pay him.
Yes.
So they leave out something in the budget.
Right.
So this is your copy of the case that we filed, signed by all of the lawyers in the case.
Ooh.
To the front. That is my gift to you. Top corner there, you see a name, signed by all the lawyers. Now in your case, you had some hours in the cell. So let's start with that, right?
Yes.
The
cell that the police said I was not in.
Right, and the judge made a finding of fact that you were indeed in a cell.
Yes, because by vivid description, I even almost gave the article that I was sitting on.
Because it had no seats and you in the bare concrete.
It was raw. And here what happened, Richard. I gone inside there, 5-6 men was in Daniel and inside there, and one man singing Bob Marley song, and when it's time to sleep, here the hardest, sir. I lie down and I have back pain, bread. So here what happened, I did back surgery about 18 years ago. When I wake up in the middle of the night, I see this thick fella who they put in a jail cell because they catch him in a roadblock without a driver's permit, and he crying in his cell, saying all he had to do was get his family to bring it, but they tell him, oh no, you're going to spend a night in jail. Right?
Nonsense.
That young man with his head on the concrete toilet bowl, what they do, so that you don't interfere with no break apart anything, they encase the toilet in concrete and the tank is in the back. So anytime you had a flush, a man had to go behind the wall, a police, you had to tell him to go and flush. So here what happening, if no police had come in and somebody let go inside it, you dead, you know. And here what happening, it have no wall to block you, it have no curtain, it have nothing. You in front of everybody, and by the way, it's big men. So here what happened, you do what you had to do. I always say, this is what God gave me, and I don't have no shame, I shall show it once I am forced to. The weapon of mass destruction.
The ball head. So the cells in Trinidad are absolutely deplorable. Some of the worst in the world, I've always said. In every case I do for malicious prosecution and false imprisonment, I always say it is bordering on the inhumane to put a man in that cell. Right? All right. So in your case, you were locked up for some hours.
Right.
And this is the handbook for the award of damages for malicious prosecution and false imprisonment according to the judiciary, according to the Judicial Education Institute of Trinidad and Tobago. This is if you are a soon-to-be lawyer, if you're a lawyer practicing malicious prosecution and false imprisonment, this is your life. After you've won the case, this tells you how much you can get, an estimate of how much you can get even before you file the case. So there's a chart to the front. Oh. In your case, you were in for some hours, let's say roughly about 20 hours, 24 hours.
Well, it was about 10 hours.
All right. So yeah, you're closer to this time frame here.
But you could use the bigger thing if you want because everybody know, man.
Right, no problem. No, that's a characteristic as well, and we'll get to that in a minute. I'll do it as quick as I can because I know you have a caller waiting.
No, that's good.
And in this case, the occupation of the claimant is businessman, much like yourself.
Right.
And this case, the person was inside for 15 hours. We'll use that as an average. It's a 2012 case, so if this award was to be given now, it will increase
of course.
Right. And in this case, for general damages, false imprisonment, the person got 50,000.
Right.
Malicious prosecution, 90,000, and you got exemplary damages as well 20,000. So 90 plus 50 plus 20, that is one something. That's about 130. That's in this one case with this one person that happened about 10 years ago, 2012 to 2022, 10 years ago. Now, if we were to go to another example of another businessman, look here, 10 and a half hours, businessman, he got in the vicinity of about 20,000 for false imprisonment, and another claim for damages, and another claim for exemplary damages, and so on and so on. So when you are claiming, and Paratap you all are claiming, we will give these as examples and say in these similar situations, because this is the handbook according to the judiciary, similar situations, and this is the award that they've claimed, but we think you all should get this, an additional 20,000, additional 25,000. And you've told me in the past that the money, whatever monies you receive in this case, you are going to donate it.
My wife and I, 100% to the hospital. We don't want a black cent. I say that as God is my witness, not one black cent.
And let me just close off by simply saying, so the book is very detailed. Let's look at another example. When the court is making findings of how the gentlemen were treated, when I say gentlemen, I mean anybody sued for malicious prosecution. In this particular case, I'll read it for you. The court found that the claimant was rough-handled.
Yeah, that is me.
Right? Who was rough-handled more than Inchan?
Yeah. By that, I nearly go to say, would that rhyme with Smith, yes? Anyway, go ahead.
Right. He was rough-handled when he was arrested in the full view of patrons in the shopping mall. In your case, he was rough-handed in the full view of everybody on the highway.
Imagine that, but yeah, that was
so you see how lawyers just read and apply. We read what it says and we just apply it to him. In this case, it was a shopping mall. In his case, it was in front of about 50 people in front Garden Media Building.
Not only that, it was in front of all the traffic passing. I know Trinidadian, right? It had more people than a mall passing.
Right. And then we have point number 2. It was extremely embarrassing episode. Of course, it was embarrassing for you. There's people packed up.
But Richard, what I want you to add to this, besides being a businessman, I am a media house owner, Richard.
Right.
So that should add about 100,000 on it alone.
So separate and apart from this, there's another book we deal with loss of reputation.
Yeah.
And that's where that comes in. All right, so this is just an example, an overview. And the reason I brought this book and the reason I wanted to explain this point is anytime the police wrongfully arrest, anytime you believe you have a claim for malicious prosecution and false imprisonment, find somebody who has this book, go to the library, check the book, look at the hours that you were wrongfully detained. Even if you were held, not arrested, and they treated you in some way, in some mismanaged way, some malicious way, look at the book, see if a part of it applies to you, and file a claim. Go to the PCA, file a claim in civil court, because those things cannot continue in this country.
Yeah, and talking about that, even though I wasn't arrested, I was detained. Remember when we were giving out hampers in Shogunas, and I spoke about that.
Right, yes.
And then they tell me, no, they just want to talk to me. And then all of a sudden, they say, Ishmael, you have to empty your pockets, etc., you're being detained.
Right. So the rule of law is, so long as you feel that your freedom is being trampled on, so long as you feel you are detained, so long as your freedom of movement has been infringed, you are arrested and detained.
Well, yeah, because they tell me, here what happened, jump in a vehicle and go, and then they tell me, no, you can't go in a vehicle, so I couldn't even go in my own vehicle. So therefore, here what happening, and we're going for that one too.
Correct.
So, Richard, we're going to open up the phone lines now. You want to just keep that on that side there? Because is that I'll take it afterwards. But let's go directly to our lines. Remember, we need to keep it brief. Ooh, we're nearly out of time already, yes. Let's go. Hello.
Inshallah, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
I'm to your guest, Mr. Jagir sir. I'm twice age, but I'll have to refer to you as Sue. A good night to you, sir.
Good night, good night.
Inshallah, I want to make a reference to something article in The Guardian today. The ex-BIR Assistant Commissioner lawsuit against Imbud.
Yes, I made reference to that earlier.
Right. I want to read a paragraph. Ramkissoon admitted she was aware of the investigation but denied any wrongdoing, as she indicated that no allegations were levied against her. The following month, Ramkissoon was informed she could not be recommended for the post based on the investigation. In deciding the case, the judge ruled that Imbud did not act fairly. Anyhow, I will stop there with that. You get it just how I
yes,
right?
Yes,
or
yes.
the story there. Good?
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Now, we have a man who we have charges hanging over his head, who is being promoted in the police service. How that could be fair and just?
Well, tonight...
When you only mention a matter before a person, you haven't accused them of anything, and you fail to recommend him for the position based on the fact that I don't know what Imbud knew, or if he'd prove anything, but we have a serious matter hanging. Is the police complaints authority a toothless bulldog?
Well, what is happening is that my question tonight is what is the relationship, if any, between Jacob and Richard Smith? I'm asking, were they part of the same batch? I'm asking a question tonight.
Inshallah, I'm of the opinion that this will just die a natural death. But who is the man to leave this to die a natural death?
Richard,
I depend you for the injustice that was done to you and to other people also, that Richard Smith promoted against other people.
No, well, what problem is that I have no proof of that. So therefore, I cannot allow that statement to just go
against you
without.
Right?
So
now, I want to ask you one question. Last week I spoke about Vivian Richard. Did you look at it?
Yes, I did.
All right, did you know what I was talking about?
Yeah, embarrassing, boy, embarrassing. I lost.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, thank you
All
so
best.
much.
Take care.
Assalamu
Wa alaikum salam and good evening, of course. Right. So let's go back to our lines again. Hello. Hello. Oh, lines. We have been having some problems with. They switched us over to Digicel, to digital, and calls. Every time people try to call in, you're not getting through. It's blocking other calls. And this has been happening for over a month now. And then all of a sudden, I will get 1,000 calls with people they can't get through on the phone lines. So, you see what I tell you? Let's go again. Hello? Hello?
Hello, good night.
Good night.
Yes, I'm trying to get into the program.
Yes, go ahead. You're live. Yes, you're live.
Okay, just want to find out a little more about how it could deal with the camp insurance for instance like core fire.
No, we can't say that. You see, we cannot mention company names when we have no burden of proof in front of us. Correct, Richard?
No evidence.
Right? We have no evidence in front of us. One is that what you're saying there, you may have all the proof. But until we could look and see, contact me tomorrow, right? Because I really can't have people, sullying anybody's name and, right? I mean, I've done winning court cases already. Don't force me to lose some now. Let's go. Hello? Hello?
Good night.
Good night. Go ahead.
Boy, I want to say I am so shocked that what you're going through, I'm going through the same thing, but in a higher volume of money and everything. And my case going on 15 years. The DPP hiding the file.
No, we can't say that either. What I'm saying, I don't want,
well, let me reconstruct it.
Yeah, we can't.
They can't find the file.
Right, which is
but they are aware of the file. I will call in and mention what happening. The guy who defrauded me these money is in millions. He coming in the country and going out free. Nobody seemed to figure out what's happening, how it happening. When I hear you talking just now with this gentleman, this goodly lawyer, I said, but it's not me alone, boy. It's other people this thing happening too. And here, the evidence is so clear. My case leave High Court, Appeal Court, Privy Council. My lawyers and them now trying to rob me the same money. I fired them. And I tell them they're a bunch of crooks. and I hear this fella talking and I feel like I could give this guy some work.
Well,
I'll take Inshan as the checker and I'll take this fella as the attorney and all could handle some matters for me.
All right. Well, what was that? Attorney is not allowed to advertise, so he can't say anything where that is concerned.
No, don't say anything to discredit his godly name now.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Richard, it is something that I have been hearing a lot. One was that where you have a few attorneys who have more or less caused problems with other attorneys in regards to these fellas are supposed to be above board. But what happens is that you hear cases about land matters and other matters and where they try to defraud people. And I mean, I guess they are humans as well. So therefore, the same way, like I tell someone, someone say, boy, they see a Muslim committing crime. A Muslim is a human too. So you get a Muslim bandit, a Hindu bandit, a Christian bandit. At the end of the day, but that does not make them, it does not make the religion or the belief or whatever bad. It's the individual. And similarly, you can't taint the entire legal system and all the people involved, the legal fraternity, with the acts of one or two people. Let's go again. Hello. Hello.
Good night.
Good night.
John, good night. And good night to Mr. Jagisar. I just would like to say congratulations to you, Inshan, for bringing this wonderful young man on the program. Listening to him speak has been very inspiring, and I'm happy that you could bring him, to the front line. I have a daughter who's an aspiring attorney as well. She's just 12 years old, and it was very interesting listening to him speak. And I congratulate him, and I congratulate you as well, Inshan, for continuing to bring the positive vibes on the program as well. So, all the best to you, Mr. Jagisar, and keep doing great things.
Thank you.
Definitely be getting the book when it's out.
Thank you, and all the best. And all the best to your daughter.
Always think that will cost you $2, $2, because I have a habit of selling snow cone to Eskimo. So let me make sure, let me tell you something. I am one of the persons who inspired him to write the book. Even though I know nothing about it, he just used my life as the example. Right? You will notice 1 or 2 times in the book he mentioned bamboo, but he didn't mention me by name.
No, it's true. It's malpros on how to speak in court. Chapters inspired by you.
Richard, we're going to leave. Let's go. Hello? We'll take 2 final calls because we're almost out of time. Hello?
Yes, good night. Okay, so you all talking a very interesting topic tonight about how we can defend, how people can defend themselves if they are wrongfully arrested.
Mm-hmm.
Does this only apply to business people? Because I only heard that mentioned. What about the normal black or Indian or whatever normal Joe on the road? Anybody?
And everybody. The only reason I am here today on set and not reading another brief in my house is because I wanted to be clear to the public that anybody could bring the claim. Any citizen, any person,
whatever race, whatever status,
whatever.
Race
even if
is
you're
not a
employed,
determinant factor for.
Even if you're employed,
because the mere fact that I mentioned businessman, it showed that it probably only for people like Inshan and stuff. But I'm glad you mentioned now everybody.
No, you see what happens is that I am the example tonight. I use myself. So therefore, remember, I alone cannot be the only example. So what Richard, in fact, I take full blame for that. I should have mentioned. It is across the board. And in fact, Richard is verifying that. It's across the board, no matter what.
Thank you.
You're welcome. For example, you go on and you're selling your doubles, and just so, because the police have a partner down the road who's selling doubles, but you leave that man and he lock you up, right? Because here what me partner getting pressure because your doubles tasting better.
Yeah.
The doubles man, malicious prosecution.
Yeah, or they have instructions from the mayor to come and move him because malicious prosecution.
You see what I mean? If me and you join up in court, it's double trouble,
One hand, someone.
We go call the company Maga's Law. Good. Let's go. Hello? Final caller. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, good evening.
Good night, Mr. Inshan.
Yes. Go ahead.
And good night to your guests.
Good night.
And this is more for your guests. Are you aware, sir, that there was a Scotch drug report? Yeah. Are you here, mister?
I am not.
No, it is Scott Drug Report, where it
Yeah.
I mentioned
Are you aware of the
former
Scott Drug
ministers
Report?
and all them.
Oh, yes.
And that drug report was done with a commission of inquiry.
Yes, yes.
And would you believe that whole Scott drug report is null and void because it was a breach, what you call it again, where people wasn't heard and they don't know who say what against them?
Well, okay.
Breach of natural justice?
Well, it is a fundamental principle of natural justice that every man accused has a right to be heard.
To be heard.
Right.
Right. Also, I am saying Mr. West said, I was watching the program all the time, he sent thing and giving information to the DPP and to the commissioner to charge Mr. Smith. But information is not evidence. That's the same thing happened in the Scott Drug report. And also, if he is so hurt, Mr. Inshan is so hurt, why you alone bring private charges? You can do that.
No. I think I just want to quickly, because of time, I will just distinguish the two very quickly. The letter that we showed is not us recommending the charges, it's the PCA recommending the charges. So it's not that we have to do anything. The PCA is entitled and a public authority tasked with that responsibility. In the other example with the Scott report, Parliament, I believe, has to do something with it. Again, we don't have the authority to do anything with that. So the two are quite distinguishable, I think, because in the report, in the recommendation from the PCA, they have their internal process, and you would see the line that I read. In my opinion, with all of the evidence before me, the me being the PCA. So that person looked at all of the evidence and proceeded with that version of natural justice to come to that conclusion.
Yes, sir. But it didn't say evidence, it said information.
Well, that is what evidence is.
Information is not evidence.
Well, to me, that is what evidence is, unless I am mistaken.
No. It's two different things. Information is not evidence, sir. Have a good night and be safe.
That's one man's opinion. As far as I know from the Archbold and the Blackstone, in that particular context, the PCA using the word all the information before me is the same as saying all of the evidence before me.
Yeah, because the information is basically what?
Information is based on evidence, and evidence is based on information.
Yeah, tomato.
Yeah.
Anyway, Mr. Jagasa, we have reached, you've been here for an hour and 15 minutes Sunday. Time has flown. I would like to thank you so much because you thought I was only keeping you for 15 minutes, but I took advantage of your kindness, and nothing is going to change because I'm going to keep doing that.
No problem. You and you alone have that permission.
Your final word, sir.
At the end of the day, I'm glad that call in and clarify that point. At the end of the day, the reason I started to be a lawyer, the reason I'm here, the reason I take cases like with this particular twist and this public interest argument is because everyone has a right to be heard on their issue. It doesn't matter what the police might do to you or what kind of force they use against you or what degree of malice they come at you with. You have a right to be heard. And the more people know about that right, the more people exercise that right, is the less offenses we have where police are mismanaging their resources and wrongfully executing their powers and abusing their powers. So the more of us stand up for what we believe in and what we know to be right, is the less times our children and our children's children will have to protest and do the same in the future.
Well, this is where we have to wrap it up. I thank you so much, folks. You've been watching Breaking Barriers right here on IBN Channel 8. Remember to be safe outside there. To the children outside, please monitor your surroundings. And there are malls in this country turning out to be areas of great worry for parents, especially with some of these characters who just be liming in the malls, and some parents will just drop off their kids and leave them. I think the times that we're living in, we need to be a little more careful than that. All right, so let me just hail out Michael Archangel there, Rowley, who I know normally watches this program every single Wednesday. As his security detail is telling me the man is tuning in, So I had to hail him out, Mr. Arrogant himself. All right, so Anything you have to say to him, Amber?
Rowley said we don't have a boom. Well, I thought he had looked so shiny. If I bounce him up, we go hear a boom.
Good. I know we have a BAM.
And we have a BIM.
That's correct.
In Burton.
A BIM and BAM. Anyway, folks, take care. All the best. And don't forget, remember, Diwali is coming up. So what is happening is that 3 days we normally provide members of the Hindu community free parking. Of course, people are not too happy about that, but we still do it because at the end of the day, it's our way of giving back. Just to advise you of 2 things. One, when you come in, please leave the car park in the same condition that you found it, garbage free. And then secondly, we will be putting up a map to show you how parking is to be done. Because what happened is that because of the bad weather, now the Ministry of Works encircled us with a road, and of course Richard is looking to send a letter to the Ministry of Works because basically after we did all the work, they came and they put this road and they put us in a pool, and essentially it's going to cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to get that to where we need it to go, which is not our fault, right? So therefore, I told Richard to send a legal letter out to the Ministry of Works because at the end of the day, I am not going down the road of having to pay for other people's dotishness. So we may not be able to use the Savannah for parking, or if we do use the Savannah for parking, it's going to be for 4x4s, which is going to be a nice thing. You know what I mean? All that mud and Richard with the Mercedes pull up and thing, you know? Leave it right there. Anyway, all the best, folks. Take care. I'll catch you next week for Breaking Barriers. Remember, there's a repeat of this program on Saturdays at 9 p.m. Assalamu alaikum and good evening.